9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Say his name and he appears. I believe it said.
Hello. It's Monday, y'all. Y'all ain't seen me since yesterday. If you hear the sound of my voice, it is I, your mayor, and it's a Monday night. That means we got to recap Monday Night Raw. The first show post SummerSlam, and there was a lot that went on. Dare I say Monday Night Raw is back, guys. We had to live through the dark ages for a couple weeks. Even last week was kind of tonight we got a good forecast of things to come, man. And I'm kind of excited for what's next, and let you guys fill in the chat so you guys can rock me tonight. Where do you guys want to start, man? I feel like there was a lot that we could really dive into some stuff. We had some returns, we had some new trajectories, I would say, and even since some of us aren't on, I guess, the Netflix international stream, there was some stuff that happened during the commercial breaks that really stood out to me as well. But we opened our show with our OTC. Tribal Chief coming to the ring after a successful victory against Seth Rollins, getting the monkey outfits back, defeating his brother in singles action. And this was actually a really, really lighthearted moment. I wasn't mad at this moment. He's pretty much gave Seth Rollins his flowers. They closed the chapter, so to speak, at least in this timeline. They probably won't touch each other again for a while. Which is interesting because, I mean, Seth Rollins was not at Monday Night Raw tonight. But Roman spoke very glowingly of Seth Rollins in this moment, and even had the audience sing Seth's song. He teed it up himself. So I thought that was very interesting. So maybe that was, like, so to speak, the final chapter. Of course, this went on to be interrupted by LA Knight coming off a 6-man tag victory against the Bloodline. And you know what? A lot of you guys asked for it. A lot of fans wanted LA Knight to be in this moment. It's not his first time taking on Roman Reigns. It seems like that's what we're headed for now. But this promo battle, can we be honest for a second, guys? He survived it, but he really lost this promo battle. When Roman really went into that mode, it seemed like maybe LA Knight shouldn't be here. I'm not gonna hold you. It seemed like maybe leave that man alone. But I mean, he recovered nicely. Brought up the fact that he just wants his one-on-one opportunity, saying that all the other times he was screwed out of it. I believe which Bloodline member screwed LA Knight? Was it Solo? Was that a debuting Solo from NXT? Or was that the return of maybe Jimmy? Either way, he has a valid argument. But when Roman looked at the camera and said, "Hey, I'm sick of this. You don't bitch and moan every week and get a title shot. You need to win a tournament, a gauntlet, a opportunity match. You need to win something. You don't just beg for a title shot and get it." But at the end of the day, Roman said, "Hey, LA Knight is his work now. Leave him alone." Told his cousins not to touch him. He said, "You guys had your chance to deal with this. Now I'm going to deal with it." LA Knight recovered, making fun of Roman, calling him a fraud and all that. But as soon as Roman looked in that camera, as soon as Roman called him broke, as soon as Roman said he got on a Walmart watch and said, "I don't call myself the megastar with what you got on," and told the cameraman to zoom in on his watch, Shador Sanders, that man. This would behoove LA Knight if Roman was not at television every week for these promo battles, because that was bad. That was ether. Reigns got the better of him. And people saying Knight survived. He showed that he can go toe to toe, didn't botch his lines, things like that. But he survived because Roman hit him with some harsher truth than what LA Knight did. But great opening segment. I'm interested to see now that Roman kind of going back into old Tribal Chief mode, talking to his family in the backstage, saying like, "Hey, I'm trying to go away from my own ways. You guys said you guys want to be equals, but I don't see that. You guys are losing matches. It doesn't work unless we win. Gave Jacob to play. Said, why is Royce calling you his family so much? Told the twins, no, stay away from LA Knight. I got this, and left. It seems like we're going to get that Iron Fist type of bloodline again. And if, without jumping too far ahead to the ending, yeah, it seems like that's coming. But Roman, his next challenger, despite what we saw at the end of the show, it looks like it's going to be LA Knight. I know the next big PLE, of course, you're going to go Money in the Bank and then right into Survivor Series. We do have a Saturday night main event in Atlanta. Maybe it takes place in Atlanta at Saturday night's main event. LA Knight taking on Roman Reigns. I don't know. If you guys are watching, you guys in the chat, do you guys feel like LA Knight has a legitimate shot to dethrone Roman? Out of that promo segment, I'm even more like, I don't know how we get there. I don't think LA Knight is somebody just going to dethrone a champion. I think he needs the Money in the Bank, but we'll see. Our first action of the night, Young OG taking on Ethan Page. And Young OG been on a heating streak the past 3 weeks, defeating Rusev. Had a good match against Ethan Page, teeing up that old NXT rivalry that they had. So I would say these two are wrestling soulmates. They put on really good work together. Good contrast in styles. The finish of the match is what threw me. Of course, Jevon Evans going to be bouncy every single week. But the way he's upping his game to add more to it, not so much like that. It doesn't feel out of nowhere. It feels very strategic and planned the way he's hitting his finisher now. I don't know if that was the way I wanted to say that, but it feels unique how he's getting to the OG cutter now. Jumping over both Page and the ref to hit the cutter. Good win for him. Now we got to talk about what happened post-match, because that's where things get a little sour for me. Like, as you guys know, for the past month, maybe month and a half or longer, we've been getting Big Cass segments. It was rumored that Enzo and Big Cass were both joining WWE together imminently. Don't know what's going on with Enzo. There hasn't been much news there that I've seen, but the Big Cass vignettes have been airing every single week, looking in the sense of like he's looking for his redemption, that he failed his first time around in WWE. And this date was supposed to be a big date for that. Here's where I'll say his arrival wasn't what I expected. Essentially, Jevon Evans on top rope, celebrating his win over Ethan Page. Big Cass attacks the Young OG. And I immediately jumped to like, why Jevon? Now, if he would have came in and attacked a Ethan Page after the match, as well as Jevon Evans, you had a scramble where he's just laying out everybody, I would be more like, okay. But it feels like what we did with Baron Corbin and Trick Williams on SmackDown. It's like, hey, returning Giant comes in and takes out one of the young upstarts. And it's like, why? I get with Trick, because Trick was U.S. champion, but Jevon is just here, not bothering nobody. So why attack Jevon? And then they tried to cover it up when I believe Jackie got with Big Cass backstage, said, hey, welcome back. We were expecting your debut, but why attack Jevon? And he basically said, Jevon was just in the way. It's going to happen to everybody. I'm going to stack bodies. Jevon just happened to be the first one. Okay, I buy that. And it seems like we're going to do yet another Jevon, like David versus Goliath thing. We saw a lot of that in NXT with him and Oba, and he never got over the hump with Oba. I have to feel like Jevon eventually, if they do like a best of three, I have to feel like Jevon might get 2 of the 3. But I mean, he's also very much younger than Cass, but I just don't understand it. I don't understand gunning for Jevon. I don't understand not having a bigger presentation. We've been doing these vignettes for the past month and some change. And like, why not have whatever his interest music is going to be hit and have him come out and cut a promo? You hit the nail on the head, Lynette. Why not interrupt Oba? It's like, hey, well, you're calling this person the future next big thing. Now I'm back. I would be more here for that. since we don't know if Oba's going to choose Punk or Roman, like, why not just have him run up on Oba? I mean, I don't get it. I want more for Big Cass. Maybe the plans with Enzo kind of throw off things, but it feels like he's walking right back into the same character work he did when he left. And that's what I want to not happen. I want him to have a better presentation and to actually show all this improvement he's made all around the world and now being back in WWE. So we'll see what happens. Probably going to get Young OG versus Big Cass in ring next week on Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan comes out, hits a victory speech, talks about Judgment Day, getting ready to run the table and hold all the gold. Shouts out Raquel. If you saw Raquel, she does have a customized title for the IC title. She has barbed wire wrapped around the belt. And this was all ahead of our match with Sol Ruca and Roxanne Perez, which was, I believe, our only ladies match tonight. However you feel about Liv Morgan, obviously the crossover appeal is there. She does have a movie dropping soon. First title defense over 100 days. She did defeat Io Sky. We'll see what's next for Io Sky. And I think we now know what we were supposed to probably get before the summer started, with some returns post-match that we'll get to in a second. But we got to talk about Ruca and Perez, who put on an absolute banger. What you saw in this match was the future of the women's division. What you saw in this match was potentially a future WrestleMania match between Sol Ruca and Roxanne Perez. Great match. I love that we gave both ladies time. I think there was at least 2 commercial breaks in this match, which tells you, if you didn't see Raw, how long that match went. That was a great match. I wish you would have got a definitive finish, but it just ended up being Judgment Day shenanigans with the ladies getting Roxanne disqualified, Sol Ruca winning by disqualification. They attacked Sol after the match. Now, what happens after the match is very peculiar, because I would have thought this would have happened at SummerSlam weekend like it has in the past, but Becky Lynch returns. Same music, not her traditional man music. She comes in, grabs a mic, and immediately starts dissing Liv. Calls her title reign trash. Says she's come back to reclaim what's hers ad nauseum. Said that she's not even the best women's champion in her stable. And she's not even the best women's champion that slept with Dominic. So pretty much vocalizing what a lot of fans have been saying about this Liv title reign. And it kind of gives you a idea of like, hey, this is somebody who can probably bring more out of Liv's title reign. Somebody that's more than an equal to Liv. But we don't stop there. Judgment Day is retreating from Becky, and we get a returning Stephanie Vaquer, who takes out all 3 women's members of the Judgment Day. Now, what's interesting here is that Becky never got involved. Becky watched this entire time while Vaquer was fighting each woman of the Judgment Day and taking out Liv, until you get some back and forth with Becky where Vaquer says, stay out of my way. And she says, well, what are you going to do about it? That's my title. War words there. I'm pretty sure this will end up in a number 1 contendership match, but I wouldn't be surprised if our next PLE you get a triple threat, because now we're going to finally be able to see what the writers plan to do before Stephanie ultimately got hurt. And I think that's what's cool. We're going to see what the original plan was for Liv's title reign. Took a little bit longer, but Becky seems to be gunning for the women's title, no longer the IC. Who's gunning for the IC title is Laura Valkyria, who, if you saw any of her interviews over the weekend, during the SummerSlam weekend, all the meet and greets and stuff like that, she's been adamant that she wants to reclaim the title that she made because she was the first one, that she wished she was the one to defeat Sol Ruca, but now she's gunning for Raquel. So I'm very interested to see what that character work of Lyra is going to do in kind of a heel versus heel type of style with Raquel. She's adamant that Bayley's gone, done, gone forever and in her rear view. So Lyra versus Raquel could be very interesting if they do go that way. We did get insight on what our main event would be. Royce seemingly hearing the words from Roman and saying like, hey, I'm rocking with you regardless, Jacob. Like, you my brother. We fought in the past. And Jacob echoing the words of Roman that you just one of the guys. We not family. I'm bloodline. And we're going to see tonight because I'm a dog walk your ass. I'm going to fight you in a street fight. So we got our main event set. And we got our 1 ladies match. Now, we hear from the ruler. Some other stuff happened backstage with the ruler and Paul Heyman. Him telling Paul Heyman that when you see Brock Lesnar, thank him for me. Paul Heyman congratulating Oba on the win. The whole night felt like a coronation of Brock Lesnar's career. So, like, whether they actually say it, we got, I mean, I was at WrestleMania. We got the moment where Brock left his stuff in the ring. They said that wasn't planned, and then we get Brock coming back so we can do a best of 3. Tonight felt like they were closing the chapter the way WWE wanted to. We had vignettes looking at Brock Lesnar's career, different interviews talking about what it was like seeing Brock Lesnar's beginning, him going to UFC, adding legitimacy to the combat sports world, as well as coming back to the legitimacy of the WWE world. Feels like Brock is done. Even Roman Reigns put out a reel talking about his fondest memories of Brock Lesnar and their rivalry. So if that's all that she wrote for the Beast, thank you for your time. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for coming back to wrestling when you didn't have to over a decade ago when you confronted John Cena. So I'm of the belief that they'll find something for Brock here in the next several months for WrestleMania 43, but we'll see. Maybe he's really done. And he gave Oba the ultimate rub by breaking character and saying, like, I'm the past, this is the future, and shouting out Oba outside of character, which was beautiful to see. The ruler came to the ring, great promo talking about what's next and saying that he's going to be the flag bearer, the one carrying the torch for the new generation. So where have we heard that before? I wonder who was the last character to actually do that in main roster, but Oba is over like nobody's business. So him saying that whoever from the old guard that has a problem with him, they can come answer to him. He didn't say anything about his title match plans, but he did talk about him still having a chapter with Destiny. So I don't know why we're being so coy about whether it's going to be Roman, whether it's going to be Punk. It's like, I think a lot of fans just want to know and just like, hey, get it over with. He has a title match. Thank God that we didn't lose the title match because that would have wasted the King of the Ring. But now it's like, what's the waiting game? I think we know kind of what's next, but as Oba was leaving, we were getting ready for the Vision to enter. Bron Breakker taking on Joe Hendry, but we had an intense stare down with Bron Breakker as well as Oba Femi at the entry ramp. Bron Breakker didn't take his eyes off Oba Femi. They got each other's face. And I think this is kind of them reading into, like, I guess the WWE Unreal thing, the story that came out where it's like, hey, they didn't want to force Bron Breakker down you guys' throats. And I think Bronson Reed even made fun of that during SummerSlam weekend in a tweet. So you see, like, who was the guy that was not even a year and a half ago, the next big thing, next up, Bron Breakker, and who's still two young guys, Bron and Oba, probably fighting for that tug of war. So much so, Bron Breakker couldn't even focus on Joe Hendry. He was still looking at the entry ramp while the bell hadn't rung. The match wasn't much of a match. There was some distraction and then some back and forth with Joe Hendry as well as Austin Theory, and Breakker gets the win. I want more for Joe Hendry so much. I want more than him being tied in with Danhausen, him being tied in with the Vision, him doing concerts. There's so much more to this character that we've seen over the past 2 years that they are leaving on the table. So much more money to be made off this character and likeness that we're not being able to showcase on 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw, and I hope it changes soon. We did see after the match that Bron Breakker went to go find Paul Heyman, and if you've been reading Breakker's body language the past few weeks, it looks like he's very annoyed with the Vision, very annoyed in tag team matches. He's just bodying everybody, but just looks like he hates being there. He looks for Paul Heyman and says, like, hey, I'm just wanting to ask you, where's Oba? And Paul says, why would I know where Oba is? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you're right. I just thought that was your new best friend. Because Paul has seemingly left the Vision behind him and focused just on Brock. I'm not going to read too much into that. There's no way that Oba is going to be a Paul Heyman guy, but it shows that Bron Breakker wants that tutelage and guidance of Paul Heyman. And now with Brock seemingly gone, we can kind of get back to that. We can get back to like Paul trying to reel in the reins of Bron Breakker and him just still being that unpredictable badass. So hopefully this is getting ready to see a second gear of Bron Breakker as a singles guy. We know he's in the tag team division because of some unfortunate injuries. I expect Bronson Reed to be back in the next couple months. But I'm interested to see what that happens with Oba and Bron. Like, are they actually going to do that? And which PLE would they do it at? Could be a dope main event for Saturday night's main event in Atlanta for real. But that stare down and the way Breakker even sold it during his match, good stuff. Really good stuff. We next got our Chad Gable celebration. Him thanking the fans for riding with him for 10 years. Him thanking Penta for just being a fighting champion and being a stand-up person. Really still on the redemption tour. Chad Gable was beautiful to see. Beautiful moment that he got his first singles title. Penta came to give him his flowers. They were interrupted by the Judgment Day. We set up a tag team match. One thing I'll note, it is very good to see Dom back in the intercontinental title picture. Oh my God, what is going on? Good to see Dom back in the picture. He lost that belt to Penta last March, and seemingly I don't think he's really got many shots back at it. Maybe back in the early days, and Penta just moved on. Now he's going to probably be the antithesis to Chad Gable. Penta will probably still be lurking around there, and we know there's other challengers with like Rusev, Young OG, probably Big Cass, as well as Ethan Page. Now, tag team match, they're really teasing up the fact that the Judgment Day were a unit. Penta and Chad Gable were not. Chad Gable and Penta still pick up the win there and make light work of the Judgment Day. They did reference Penta's tag team success with his brother on air too. So I wonder if that means that they're going to finally tee up the Lucha Bros. Maybe. We've been wanting it for a while, but AAA Mania is coming up in another month, so it's very possible we can do something there. I do expect Penta to be involved on the card in some way. Dom being here, because you know Dom has a huge storyline in AAA, but getting back to Dom being the biggest heel in WWE, that's a good thing for the Raw brand, because you need that. Not necessarily, I mean, we're not going to put Judgment Day in here with the bloodline anywhere, but him and the Judgment Day seemingly going after the IC belt, going after Chad Gable, gives Chad Gable good challengers, because I do still expect Chad Gable to help out with Tozawa and Otis versus the Vision. We did see Tozawa get a leg up on Theory and Breakker after the match and stand tall after the Vision recently took out Otis. So while Otis is out for a while, I do expect Tozawa to get some help from Chad Gable. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like I'm missing something before I get into the main event. I mean, the main event was a street fight. We can go into that before we talk about and speculate what we saw at the end of the main event. Jacob Fatu, Royce Keys. And Royce Keys probably benefited the most from that six-man tag and all the buildup leading up to the six-man tag this past weekend for SummerSlam. This felt like a reestablishing of Jacob Fatu just being not only an enforcer, but like a serious wild card that is dangerous, like a serious, dangerous right hand of the bloodline. And he's always been that, but we haven't seen it in recent weeks just because we've really been elevating Royce, ascending LA Knight, and also showcasing Solo as a babyface and kind of like the thorn in the side of the bloodline. Even Roman Reigns saying, like, why isn't Solo on my hip now? He should be out here getting me coffee. Like, why haven't you got Solo back with the family yet? Pretty sure that's going to continue to play out after what we saw. I mean, keep things short. He said he was going dog walk Royce Keys. This was a dog walk. Royce had his moments, but then the werewolf just turned up. He turned up, and then he took it there. The pop-up Samoan drop into the table, beautiful spot. Love that. That led into his moonsault. Then led to the Tongan death grip until the life was literally sucked out of Royce and they had to call the match. He keeps applying the Tongan death grip until blood is leaking from Royce Key's mouth. This was a write-off. And I don't know why, because Royce was doing so well. Like, we were starting to see his character develop. We were starting to see him be the powerhouse we know he can be, for lack of better words, and really get the better of Jacob and the bloodline. But they are seemingly writing Royce off for a later date. I was actually looking forward to Royce possibly being in Money in the Bank. Not to say it's not till October, so there's still time for that. But this effectively takes Royce out of action, while Roman is going to deal with LA Knight one-on-one. And now that means the twins and Jacob are probably going to focus on getting Solo back to the bloodline. So I'm interested to see what happens there now that we have taken the big man out. Made Jacob look completely dangerous, made the bloodline look like a threat on Monday Night Raw again. And then all Roman did at the end of the show was come and say, like, yeah, that's how we do work. The acknowledgement, the head nod to Jacob saying, hey, I approve of you doing this. This is what I expect from you. This is why I wanted you in this bloodline. But what happens at the end of the show? And here's where, like, if you're in the chat, like, let me know something, because we can really speculate this now. Random as hell. Roman leaves the arena. I didn't think we were going to follow Roman to Gorilla. I love the Gorilla shots. Rey Mysterio's there. Rey Mysterio says, I acknowledge you. They shake hands. And Rey Mysterio says, hey, you know I'm the general manager of AAA, right? Roman says, I do now. Funny. Funny as shit. Like, Roman's in his own world. He don't watch programming, nothing like that. And he says, hey, come with me. I want to run something by you. AAA Mania takes place, I believe, next month, September. It's 2 nights. First 2-night AAA Mania ever. One will take place on Friday night in Vegas. The next will take place in Mexico. Now, obviously, the bigger show is going to be Mexico. You can't telegraph this enough that the big match is going to be El Grande Americano versus Dom for the AAA Mega Championship. 100%. That's your main event. That's going to happen. I like what you're saying, Sage. Now, he says Omos is coming. I feel like Omos will try to help Dom, but they've been doing a good job of keeping Omos in the AAA world. This tells me that he's going to ask Roman to defend his title, and we know a former champion recently went to AAA to do some work. And my mind immediately went to Damian Priest. Let's rebuild Damian Priest as a former champion under the AAA banner. Restore some of that shine to the character that's been missing since he's been out of the title picture for some time. And we're trying to see if Roman Reigns will give Damian Priest an opportunity as a former champion in AAA soil in Vegas, which if you get the Tribal Chief on AAA programming in general, like, the AAA crowd shows up regardless, but you're going to have Roman on AAA programming in Vegas, they're going to sell them tickets out. And then you're going to get a good match with Damian Priest, which might be a clean match. Maybe LA Knight doesn't like it and interferes because he wants his one-on-one versus Roman Reigns. But the fact that they gave us just a little bit to allow us to speculate and try to figure out ourselves, very interesting what they could do. I feel like it would be Priest, but it would even be cooler if he fought like a AAA original star. Like, my mind is spiraling on who could be. Like, what if it was like a Mr. Iguana or La Park or something like that? I don't know. There's so many names there he can face to kind of boost the brand, and I'm pretty sure Taker's all for it, elevating the brand, because Taker's been doing great work with that program. But that was like the domino to fall that you didn't expect. Like, we had a very good Monday Night Raw. Great 2.5-hour show. A lot of places we can go. We got Stephanie Vaquer returning, Becky Lynch returning, Big Cash returning and debuting, attacking Young OG. The Bloodline revamping and refocusing. LA Knight promo battle where he did stand toe-to-toe with Roman. He stood toe-to-toe. Royce Keys unlocking the Samoan werewolf that we saw for months that was taking Roman to to the woodshed. And now we get the possibility of Roman Reigns going to AAA that we really got to think about. And maybe something goes to socials, but like it's crazy that in 2026 that Roman can be on AAA programming. Like, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And that's just it's just Monday, man. It's just Monday. We got NXT tomorrow. Of course, I do have a training I got to do tomorrow, but I will try to get on here and do a watch along with you guys for NXT, at least for the main event. Lola Vice taking on Kendall Gray for the NXT Women's Championship in the Underground. I'm going to try to be there for that for y'all. And then, of course, we'll be back for WWT Live. I don't believe there was a show today, but there's so much news we can talk about that is dropped today. That's just going to be huge for wrestling for the next few months. But WWT Live, AEW Watch Along, Honey Night SmackDown, TNA Watch Along, Kayfabe on Thursday. Those will all be available to you this week. We'll try to do something for NXT tomorrow. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys rocking me. The Monday Night Mare is officially back. We'll be back every single week. Usually I'm going to be trying to record this for y'all, maybe like within the 30 minutes or an hour after Raw. Took me a little longer, had some errands to run, but we back for y'all. And before I go and continue my evening, I do have to wish a very happy birthday to our fearless leader, TK Trinidad. You might have saw all the social posts that it's her birthday or birth month because she's going to be celebrating all month. So she's probably not going to be here for a while. So give her your flowers, give her all your love and adulation for creating this platform that we all enjoy to come rap about wrestling with, because she's earned the break. She's earned the break, and she's earned all the respect for just building women's wrestling talk and bringing this content to you guys. So shout out to TK. Hope you're having a wonderful time today and the rest of this week and month. But until then, y'all, I'm the mayor. Love talking Raw with y'all. We'll be talking some NXT tomorrow. Hopefully Lola Vice wins the belt back. And you can follow me on my socials. Set is the answer on the gram. Set is the answer on TikTok. Set is the answer on YouTube. Check out my YouTube channel, all my interviews. I'm uploading as fast as I can to YouTube and TikTok so we can build this thing out brick by brick. I'll be with y'all later this week. Y'all have a good night. Happy Monday, y'all.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.